Hey, this is Daniel Yoxheimer, and this is my show, The Spectre. And if you don't already know, the Duck Dynasty patriarch Phil Robertson once again said something fucked up, basically. There's no other way to put it. I'm going to play the audio if I can get it up here. To surmise, he was talking about, he was at a prayer breakfast in Florida, where the fuck that is. And because that's what rich people who are really religious have time to do, is travel around and go to these fucking prayer breakfasts and go to CPAC and all these other fucking events and things, and travel all over the place just to talk about the fucking Bible. So anyway, he's basically is like one of those people like Kirk Cameron who thinks if you're not a Christian or if you're an atheist, you have no fucking morals at all. And he illustrates this by talking about two burglars breaking into an atheist man's home and raping his daughters and cutting off his wife's head and then cutting his dick off and showing it to him, and because there's nothing wrong with it because he's an atheist, and I guess the burglars are atheists. I don't even know what the point is, but I'm going to play the audio, and you'll, because I'm going to do my part about, spreading this, because Phil Robertson I am so sick of these smug, conservative, wealthy motherfuckers going on, having this soapbox to stand on, and trying to tell everybody else what's right and wrong, especially when they say shit like this.
Maybe if you just buy enough health care insurance, that'll keep you out of the ground. I don't think so. Save you money. You got a 6-foot hole waiting on you if you have all the health care you can buy. You say it's going to keep me out of the ground? No, sir. It's a problem. And you know something? You can't solve it. Just like you can't see in your sin problem. Oh, I don't know, this conscience thing. We just dreamed it up. There's no right. There's no wrong. There's no good. There's no evil. I'll make a bet with you. Two guys break into an atheist home. He has a little atheist wife and two little atheist daughters.
Two little atheist daughters.
Two guys break into his home and tie him up in a chair and gag him. And then they take his two daughters in front of him and rape both of them and then shoot them. And they take his wife and decapitate her head off in front of him. And then they can look at him and say, isn't it great that I'd have to worry about being judged? Isn't it great that there's nothing wrong with this? There's no right or wrong. Now is it, dude? And then you take a sharp knife and take his manhood and hold it in front of him and say, wouldn't it be something if this was something wrong with this? But you're the one that says there's no God, there's no right, there's no wrong. So we're just having fun. We're sick in the head. Have a nice day.
Yeah, that pretty much concludes. I think it speaks for itself. There's not much I can really add to it. I can comment on it, but it's it's one thing to discredit atheist, like for a Christian to discredit an atheist or an agnostic with their beliefs and saying, I feel that, of course you feel your belief system's superior because that's what you believe in. That's why you're Christian or whatever you are, or whatever religion you are, and you're not someone who questions religion. And I'm someone who questions religion. I'm not saying I'm against it or anything like that. I have a lot of issues with organized religion particularly. And I don't identify myself as a Christian. When I was a kid, I was baptized in a Lutheran church. I was actually the baby Jesus in the play when I was a toddler, because I was born that February, before that December, so I was a big baby Jesus. So I actually played Jesus in a theatrical production of some kind, strangely, and I didn't even know about that until recently. But I don't don't go to church. I've been to church a couple times growing up at other people's churches, friends of mine and stuff like that, and it's just not something I believe. It's not, and because of that, it doesn't mean I'm going to go and break into someone's house and gag the father and rape their daughters and shoot them in the head and cut off the wife's head and show it to him and then cut off his dick and then show his dick. Like, isn't it bad enough he decapitated his wife and in front of him, and then you have to cut his dick off too? And I guess if you've gone that far, you may as well, castrate him or cut his junk off. I suppose. I don't really know what this sick scenario has to do with spreading the word of Christ. Quite frankly, I don't think. My reasoning is this about as far as having morals in a civil society, or why we have a relatively civil society on some levels at least, is because people, us humans, most of us I think like to live in a relatively safe environment, and we want to be treated a certain way, and other people want to be treated a certain way, and that's kind of why most people get along relatively well, I guess. It depends on how you look at it. I mean, we don't go to the grocery store because someone grabs the last item that, we wanted and punch them. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I don't necessarily subscribe to a religion, but I'm not going to punch anybody to get something that someone else had because I wanted it. So there's a civil discourse in our society, which most of us, usually if you're not in jail, like average person like me, and we abide by it. Usually some of it does involve laws. There's a reason most people aren't going to go rob a bank, because they could very likely get caught, and well, at least not around here. They seem to be able to rob banks and get away with it. At least they just take the drawer though. But if you want to go rob a bank and be on a heist, you would get into a lot of trouble. It's most people are going to be inclined to get a job and earn a living and not have to look over their shoulder all the time, or launder the money or anything like that. That kind of stuff. I mean, basically why we don't do bad things typically. If my neighbors are being loud, sometimes they fight and argue and shit like that. I don't go over there and give them shit and start beating them up or anything, or even call the cops on them, because I just think it's kind of a dick move too. I just try to treat people how I'd like to be treated, even if I don't like them. And I don't like everybody. Nobody likes everybody. Phil Robertson claims to love everybody. Even the gays he says are, nothing but vile, disgusting, immoral people. But this, he keeps saying, I've watched some of his videos, like on CPAC. At the CPAC event, he was speaking. He's always speaking, and he was going on about venereal diseases, that there's, like 150 million cases of venereal disease of all sorts. Of course, there'd probably be a lot of them. There's a lot of people in the world and in the United States, and a lot of people are having sex, and invariably, a lot of people are probably going to get some form of venereal disease, some big, some are minor, of course. It can range anything from herpes to HIV to AIDS to syphilis and gonorrhea and all these sorts of things. So, and it's not necessarily a moral failing getting a venereal disease. That can just happen to you. You can just be in a committed relationship and you can get a venereal disease. So it's not really, I don't know, he always tries to make these, he paints everything with this really broad stroke. He just says there's so many venereal diseases in this country because they're not, they haven't accepted Jesus Christ as their personal savior, and they're not married, so they're a bunch of adulterers and homosexuals and what have you. So he thinks they're wrong. I really, as far as I'm concerned, this particular, and I don't like the Kardashians either. I don't like any of these reality star people that are already wealthy, that are given a television program, and we're somehow supposed to take our cues from them in some way, shape, or form. I would like nothing more than to see Duck Dynasty go off the air and see Phil Robertson he can go back to the woods and, you know, shoot varmint. I don't fucking care. I'm tired of, you know, this sort of shit flying, because if I said that kind of stuff, I could not get away with it. He can say that sort of stuff because he could, even if he tries to put it in a context of talking about religion and his faith, that makes no sense at all. To sit there and glibly talk about a horrific, you know, murder, this whole family getting massacred by two home invaders, and he's using this to basically illustrate that, you know, in a world of atheists, this kind of shit's going to happen more often because they don't have any morals. I mean, if you're an atheist, I mean, I'm not sure if I classify myself as kind of an atheist, maybe agnostic at most, but if someone came into my home, killed my family, cut my dick off, and showed it to me, even as an atheist, I would think that's very wrong. I would have a huge problem with all of that. That wouldn't, I think it would be just every bit as horrific to me as it would for a Christian. This is just the kind of bullshit he spews. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's a bad person or not, or I don't know, but he's really full of shit. He just is. He's full of shit. He is. There's just no two ways about it. I don't know why, you know, people like that can just get up and say shit and it doesn't mean anything, and it really doesn't mean anything. I don't think it was even, it didn't even make a point when it came down to it. It was just him saying some fucked up shit because I think he's getting sort of drunk on his own fame or whatever, or the kind of power he does have as a, I guess, he's kind of a preacher of sorts. He's not like a minister or any official religious, he doesn't hold any official religious sort of job or whatever it is, rank. A member of the clergy. I don't know a lot about what they refer to personnel in any given church, but he's not, and he was just, you know, some idiot making hunting DVDs a few years back with his family, and A&E picked him up, and yeah, okay, the show is a cute show about these people that hunt ducks and they make duck calls. Big deal. Not a big deal. But his reach is being, his social reach in being this sort of, he acts like he's kind of like the, the minister on Footloose, John Lithgow, who told the town that he couldn't dance and he was just fiery and yelling, just pissed off all the time, and he didn't want Kevin Bacon dating his daughter, all that shit. That's kind of what it is. It's just this crazy person that people are listening to and that are calling on us to restrict ourselves because he feels that everyone outside of his religion is wrong, and he's calling upon all of us to do that. He wants all the gays to become straight, and he wants everyone to have biblically correct sex, whatever that means, and society will just be fine. And not really, no. It won't be. You can't just have it your way. I mean, I don't like everything in society, but I have to live in this world. I can't just make everything tailored to suit my sensibilities and my needs. There's plenty of stuff out there I think is fucked up, you know? I don't like those hoop things young people are putting, or not even just young people, a lot of people are putting in their ear gauges in their earlobes and that stretch them out. The earlobe stretchers, I don't like them. They fucking gross me out. But I have nothing against people that have them because that's their choice to do that, you know? But it's just something that freaks me out a little bit, and I just don't find it particularly aesthetically pleasing. But that's just one little stupid example, and that's a very petty small thing, and I don't care, and I'm certainly not going to speak out against it. I guess technically I did. But anyway, in conclusion, I think Phil Robertson should be, he needs to be cast out of the village. He is just out of the media village. I just don't think they deserve to have he deserves to be on a show anymore. He's made millions of dollars, you know, and if his wife and Willie, his son, had any sense, they would tell him to shut the fuck up before you put us all out of business. That's what I would do. Anyway, this has been Daniel Yoxheimer. And this is my show, The Spectre. If you like this video and some of my other videos, if you happen to see them, subscribe.